Hi, it's Steph, and I'm at Lowe's, and end of season clearance has begun. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's available at my Lowe's now as we head into mid-October. The Monrovia shrubs are 50% off here at my store in Massachusetts, Zone 6B, which is wonderful because typically for us, the Monrovia plants are a little pricier. So they have this Cotoneaster cranberry Tom Thumb, so it looks like it would be more compact. It says stays compact, likes full sun, and these almost look like hollies, but they look like they get berries. Look at that. Easy care plant, so $42.98 means it would be around $21.50. And let's see, it looks like it grows sort of like a ground cover, 5 feet wide and only 2 feet high. And it's hardy in zones 4 through 7 or down to negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit, likes full sun. They have quite a few of these here at my store. Some English laurel, and the foliage on these, it has a really pretty shiny broad leaf. It looks very similar to a Rota Dendron. So this is what the plant looks like when it's in bloom. Really pretty. So this one here is called the Odo Lucan English laurel. It likes full or part sun, showy blooms, great for hedges. Also $42.98, so it'd be about $21.50. And this one gets to be 6 feet wide by 3 feet tall. It says year-round interest from dwarf evergreen shrub with glossy leaves and showy fragrant flower spikes. And it also gets small black ornamental fruit. So very, multi-interest type shrub. Partial to full sun and hardy in zone 6 through 9 or down to negative 10 degrees Fahrenheit. And right on the side of it, there is some Weigela. I believe this variety is Florida. It's a variegated Weigela. I had seen this at another store over the summer. Yeah, it is. So this one, the botanical name here is Weigela Florida Morcolosam. It's a more colorful Weigela. It looks like it gets really pretty pink blooms and the variegated foliage that is green and yellow. So this variety here, see how big it gets. 5 wide by 4 high, so medium sized. Likes full sun, hardy zones 4 through 9, and down to negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Again, this one would be about $21.50. So this is a great price to pick these shrubs up at, and they are still relatively healthy looking, and it's fall, so you can still plant them for a few more weeks until the ground freezes. And look at these beautiful smoke trees or smoke bushes. That color just catches your eye. Stunning. And what's really pretty about these also is that they have sort of like an oval type leaf, which makes them really interesting. And this color is just stunning. So let's check out this variety. These here are the Monrovia Royal Purple Smoke Tree. They like full sun, dramatic fall color, so nice and vibrant. They are $49.98, so these would be about $25. And so these bloom beautifully too. Look at these puffs of what looks like smoke is how they bloom, and that is in summer, usually in June, mid to late June. So this one here, it likes full sun, Monrovia Royal Purple Smoke Bush or Smoke Tree, because these can be really large shrubs or trained into a small tree. This one here says it needs 12-foot wide spacing and gets to be about 15 feet tall. It is hardy in zones 4 through 8 and hardy down to negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Really pretty one. So $25 for that, definitely a good deal. And here is a Japanese maple that is really popular here in the Northeast. It is the Sango Kaku, also known as the coral bark maple. And these here are marked down 50% off, which is a really good buy. So these here, the good feature about them is that they have this really gorgeous bright colored bark in the winter. So even when you lose all of the foliage, you get lots of winter interest with the bark color. And here's the information on this one. So the coral bark Japanese maple likes full or partial sun. I have a neighbor growing one of these in full sun and it handles it really well. It says it has dramatic fall color. So it's just starting to get its really pretty coloring for fall. You can see here, it looks like it has an orange color. And otherwise it's this pretty shade of like a chartreuse kind of green. And it says here that it is hardy in zones 5 through 8 down to negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit. It grows to be 15 to 25 feet tall and 15 to 20 feet wide. $99, 50% off. It would be $50 for one of these trees. It's a 1.73, so close to a 2-gallon. And the height of the tree is roughly, I want to say once you take it out of the can, it's going to be 3 to 4 feet. So that is a great buy. Here's a bit more on the foliage. There is some of its fall color with this orange coloring. Gorgeous trees. So my store still has some things here, but it's gonna go quick at this price point. So definitely check out your stores. So here is some euonymus that has green and gold foliage. Let's see what this one is called. Candali Gold Euonymus. And this one here is $14.98, so it'd be 50% off at $7.50. It likes full sun. It is hardy down to zone 5 or negative 10 degrees Fahrenheit. And this variety gets to be 3 feet high by 2 feet wide. These are also great options to use in containers. But I will tell you that the deer do like to eat my euonymus. I have some planted, and once in a while they will take some bites out of it. Here is another wonderful option for a ground cover. This is a juniper. I also have some of these planted in a hillside area in my garden. So if you have an area that you deal with some erosion, these are great plants to plant, not only for evergreen interest, as a ground cover, they will also help retain your soil. So let's see. This is a blue rug juniper. You can see it grows in a rug type growth habit. It is $10.98, so this would be about $5.50. It likes full sun, and in full sun it'll take on more of a blue hue. It gets to be 1 foot high by 8 foot wide, and it is hardy down to negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit or zone 3 and deer resistant. And then the blue star juniper, which I absolutely love. I have about 3 of these, maybe 4 planted in my garden. These are a wonderful front of the border type shrub because they stay really compact. Mine have been planted for 10 years and they're about 3 by 4 in diameter and only about maybe 12 to 18 inches in height. So really good for a low front of the border type evergreen, and provides this beautiful blue coloring. Look at that. So the Juniper Blue Star, this one's $13.98, so it'd be about $7 for this shrub here. And 2 to 3 feet in height, 3 to 4 foot wide. So mine has not gotten 2 to 3 feet in height. Like I said, it's about 12 to 18 inches in height, but it certainly has gotten 3 to 4 in width. Hardy down to zone 4 or negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit, and it is deer resistant in my garden, which is another great feature. Now, deer will eat anything if they're hungry enough. They'll try to sample some things, but they generally stay away from these. Another really gorgeous evergreen is the gold Mop Cypress, or the lemon thread false cypress. I also have these in my garden. They do really well in full sun. If you put them in a little bit of shade, they will start taking on more of a green coloring, sort of what you see on the underside of the foliage here, but they're also really pretty. And this one here, let's see. See that growth habit? Has a really pretty kind of weeping, arching habit on the branches. Likes full sun. The lemon thread false cypress, this one's $13.98, so it'd be about $7. And so this is a great time to pick up some evergreen interest for your garden, especially if you're starting a new landscape. What a good time to add some shrubs. So this one here gets to be 3 to 5 feet in height, 2 to 4 feet wide. It is hardy down to zone 4 or negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit. See how much of a contrast it has with a green evergreen like the Rota Dendron behind it? Really pretty color contrast and texture contrast. And then there are some variety of yellow evergreen here, some varieties by Monrovia. So let's check these out. So this one is the Sea of Gold Juniper. Look how pretty that is. It likes full sun. It's a Monrovia exclusive multi-season beauty. These are $19.98, which is wonderful for a Monrovia shrub. So this would be $10. And let's see how big it gets. So the Sea of Gold Juniper likes full sun. It is hardy in USDA zones 3 through 9 or down to negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit, and it is moderate growing, reaching 3 feet tall by 4 foot wide in its natural form. And there's quite a few of these here at my store. some little giant arborvitae, and what's really cool about these is that they grow in a rounded or sphere type growth habit. So sometimes people like to add like boxwood to their garden and shape them into round balls, but that is something that you'll have to keep up with maintenance wise. Well, these will naturally grow in this type of shape. So let's check out the specs on these. And this variety, the Little Giant, is a type of arborvitae, kind of like the green giant, that are more deer resistant. So I have a friend who planted these in her garden, and she says that her deer do not bother them. But you know, if you do deal with deer, something to look into. It likes full sun. The Little Giant arborvitae, these here are $44.98, so they'd be about $22.50, but they're in a really large container here. So these are some good size there. Look at that. They'll make an impact right away. And these are, let's see, they are hardy down to zone 3 or negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit. They get to be 4 foot high by 4 foot wide. And it gives you some planting instructions, and they have a mounding growth habit. Really beautiful. Let's see how big this is. I'm curious as to the size. It doesn't say, but they probably close to between a 3 and a 5 gallon. And my store also still has 4 of these Monrovia St. John's wort. I actually bought one of these this summer when they were brand new. I couldn't help myself. It was full of these pink berries, and they were absolutely stunning. So this is a deciduous shrub. So at this point in the season, it's losing its foliage and it doesn't look its best, but it is a really pretty shrub. It is compact. This one here is called the Floral Berry Rosé St. John's wort. It gets these really pretty little yellow blooms. In fact, there's actually a little bloom right here. It's kind of going over now, but it's a little buttery yellow type bloom. And then after the blooms are done, you get these gorgeous pink berries as you head into fall. Really pretty. So this variety here likes partial shade to full sun. It is hardy in zones 5 through 9 or down to negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit. It is moderate growing, and it reaches 3 feet tall and wide. Really pretty shrub. So I paid full price for this. It was around $40. Yeah, it was $40. $39.98. So now they are $20. And some Rota Dendrons. These are some really pretty pink ones. Look at that. Gorgeous. And they're all budded up already. Nice healthy foliage. So this variety here is the Monrovia Landmark Rota Dendron. It likes partial sun. It gets spring blooms, and it's wonderful for a woodland garden. So rhododendrons are understory trees. They like to be in a bit of a shaded environment with maybe some trees overhead. And let's see, they bloom in spring. They're hardy in zones 5 through 8 or down to negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit. And they are moderate growing, and they get to be 4 feet tall and 4 feet wide. And this is a small leaf rhododendron. They have some that have bigger leaves as well. Look at that. I even found a couple of blooms. These are grown in a greenhouse, so they're a little confused about the season, but isn't that a pretty surprise? And here is a white variety called Milky Way. Look at those blooms. It almost looks like it has a different style bloom too. The petals look a little bit looser and more open. Usually they're more cup-shaped. And it's also a small leaf rhododendron. Let's see how big this one gets. This one also gets 3. It looks like it gets 3 by 3. Hardy in zones 4 through 9 or down to negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Milky Way rhododendron. And at 50% off, this one would be about $20 to $23.50. And some really large boxwood. Look at these. At 50% off, the price is going to be great on these. So they are $74. So it'd be what, 35 bucks, $37 roughly. Okay, I'm trying to do math on the fly here. And this is I want to say a 5 to 7 gallon. It's really good size. No, it's actually a 3.5 gallon, but it's fairly tall, so it looked like it was bigger. But if you look at the size of these shrubs, these would be wonderful even to use in some containers for some evergreen winter interest. So if you are in the process of taking out all of your annuals or your mums are almost done, you could pop some of these for some color throughout the winter, maybe even add some lights around the holidays. Really good option. So this here is the green velvet boxwood, which is a really popular variety of boxwood. It likes full or partial sun, and boxwood is actually an evergreen that can take a little bit more shade. They're great for hedges, multi-season beauty, and let's see, they are hardy in zones 4 through 9 or down to negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit. They're moderate growing, and they get to be 3 to 4 feet tall and wide. And are you looking to add some living fencing or some privacy hedges? 50% off. There are some Leland Cyprus and some Arborite. So let's check out the varieties that they still have in stock. My neighbor across the street actually has a hedge of these Leland Cypress, and they're really fast growing. The deer also don't seem to bother them, so they could be a good option for a quick growing living fence. So these here are $44.98, so at 50% off they would be about $22.50. They like full sun, and these get big. Let's see how big they get. 50 feet high and 15 wide. Hardy down to zone 6, and they have a really pretty shape. I don't know if you can see this here, but I want to say out of the container, these are probably a 4 to 5 foot tree. But what a good price on these at 50% off. And my personal favorite, if I were ever to put up a living fence, would be the green giant arborvitae. The reason for that is that I live in an area with lots of deer. I'm in the country, I back up to woods, and our neighbor has a huge hedge of these, and they are looking beautiful, and the deer don't touch them. They do like some arborvitae, but they do not seem to touch the green giant variety, at least in my experience. So these like full sun. They certainly need water, especially while they're establishing. Arborvitae like water. And these here are $43.98. So at 40, almost 44, so they'd be about $20 a piece, $22 a piece. What a great price. Let's see. So they get to be 30 feet high and 15 wide. They need about 15-foot spacing. It depends how fast you want your hedge to grow in. A lot of times I read online that people will space them 5 foot center to center. So it really depends how quickly you want your hedge to grow and to create some privacy as to how far you would plant them for a living fence. But if you are looking to plant, the ground is still workable where you're at. This is a great time to pick these up at 50% off. And these also look to be about 3 to 4 feet trees. And as a heads up, the Lowe's and Home Depot is starting to get a lot of these red pots. These are their holiday pots. These are not marked 50% off. These are their new inventory. So if you are looking for arborvitae, look, they still have some in the red pots, but you can pick up the other ones in the regular pots for 50% off at this point. Here's another cool 50% off Monrovia shrub that would look really nice in some containers. These spiral Alberta spruces. And normally these are really expensive, but let's see how much they are marked down. So these dwarf Alberta spruces in the topiary or in this spiral form is $199, so they'd be $100, 50% off. And let's see. You can maintain them pretty easily by just not letting the shape get out of hand and then just trimming them when they start to get a little shaggy. And it looks like they get to be 8 foot tall and can get up to 5 feet wide. These proven winners plants here on this table are not on sale, so these are not marked down yet, but they still have some good options for some fall planting. And these are little lime hydrangeas. I actually grow these in my garden. The panicle type hydrangeas are really great for full sun location. I have these planted in full sun and they do beautifully. Look at this gorgeous color. They start off this green before aging to cream, and then they start getting really pretty shades of pink as the temperatures cool. So these just showed up, so they're still going through their color change cycle, and so they're a little bit behind. Look how they look. They're beautiful. So these are the dwarf version or the smaller version of the traditional limelight hydrangeas. So the traditional limelight gets anywhere between 6 to 8 feet tall and wide, and these stay more compact at 3 to 5 feet tall and wide. They are hardy in zones 3 through 8 or down to negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit, and they like sun or part shade. Really gorgeous. And these are, let's see how much. They are a 2-gallon for $28.98. And some North Pole arborvitae. Now these arborvitae are a more slim version of arborvitae. These are by proven winners as well. And look how pretty these look in a grouping. I always love that photo. Isn't that gorgeous? So they're a fast-growing arborvitae with a narrow pyramidal form, ideal as a specimen or privacy screen. So if you have a smaller garden and you want a privacy fence, these would be a good option as they stay more narrow than the, say, green giant arborvitae that we took a look at earlier. These like sun or part shade. They are native and evergreen. Hardy in zones 3 through 8 or down to negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit. They get to be 10 to 15 feet tall and 3 to 5 feet wide. And let's see, these are a 2-gallon for $25.98. And if you're looking for mums, either to replace some that you bought too early in the season or because you haven't picked any up yet, This is your perfect opportunity, 50% off. Look at all these beautiful colors. These mums here come in a really cute little decorative planter. Look at that. Looks like a faux wood, has a bit of a farmhouse vibe to them. $14.98, so they'd be about $7.50. Still lots of pretty colors. Some deep pink, some orange, some yellow. The full decor is getting marked down too. It's not 50% off, but it is starting to get reduced. So if you're still looking for some decor, they have some really pretty pumpkins here at Lowe's. Here are some smaller containers of the little giant arborvitae. So these would be a little easier to plant. If you didn't want to deal with the larger ones like that, you could get these smaller ones. And these here, let's see, they're $13.98, so they'd be about $7 each. Same stats, 4x4 and negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit or zone 3. And they still have about a half a dozen here at my store. So I really hope that you can find a lot of these shrubs at your Lowe's when you go shopping. End of season, they do tend to mark things down. Of course, varieties always will differ by store location. But I hope that you've enjoyed checking out the variety that my store has in stock, and I hope that you can find some near you. So thank you so much for taking your time to check out the mid-October inventory at Lowe's, and I will catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please hit the thumbs up button. And please consider subscribing so you don't miss any of my future videos. And we'll see you soon.